All right, the third and final equation, which gets rid of time, takes time out of the equation, so we can solve for final speed as a function of initial speed, based on knowing initial speed, acceleration, and finally displacement. So we will just take a look at this as always to make sure, and to show that it works out dimensionally. So if we have v squared on this side, we have meters per second quantity squared, or meters squared per second squared. They would be equivalent. So this should work out both ways. This should also be equal to meters squared per second squared. And that should not be equal to, that should be a plus, just to demonstrate the terms. So we'll come back and put a plus sign here, and it will leave us with acceleration, meters per second squared, times displacement, meters. So it's consistent. So we have meters per second squared, or meters squared per second squared, are equal to meters squared per second squared plus meters squared per second squared. So it works. If we take the square root of both sides, it will give us meters per second, which probably is what we're going to do. In this first problem, I'd like to demonstrate the use of this. Now, this equation, which has just been defined, a car accelerates from rest to 30 while traveling a distance of 20. What is the acceleration? So again, we know the initial speed is 0, the final speed is 30, the displacement is 20. What was the acceleration? We know that 2AD is equal to v squared minus v naught squared. So this is the equation just solved for different variables. Dividing through by 2d will give us acceleration. Acceleration will be equal to, again, v squared minus vi squared, divided by 2 times d, subbing in the numbers. V squared is 30 meters per second. We'll square the whole number and units, minus 0 meters per second squared, divided by 2 times the distance, 2 times 20 meters. 30 squared is 900 meters squared per second squared, divided by 40 meters. So meters will cancel one of the squares. It leaves us with meters per second squared. 90 divided by 4 is the answer, meters per second squared, and that's 22.5 meters per second squared.